this is you guys on TV for, 45 hours straight calling people do exercises, right, Rich?
We should raise money. It should be a telethon. It's funny, anytime a large man runs really slow, I get a text from Warren Sapp saying, there's your pace car.
I appreciate
every single time.
You've been under 6:0 4 times. I think we did the history.
Is that right?
2016 is your fastest. I think if I read the stats right, you've been under 6:0.
Yep.
4 times throughout the history. A lot of times you've run. I mean, like 20 times it feels like. Do you know how many?
I always tell.
There it
is. There's the. Let me see. I see 5 beautiful 5s up there.
Really gotten better.
Up to the left of the decimal point. That is fantastic. Look at that form.
4.
What do you think of the form?
It's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, top notch. For being in a suit too.
Hey, it's 4 under 6:0, right?
That's 4 under. That's 4 under 6.
Okay, I thought you said 5. I thought I couldn't do math.
How many of those did you time, DJ?
Just a couple, but I did get one under 6. So I don't know if that's 2018. It might be 2018.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
He's got a nice trigger finger.
I was giving the punters yesterday, and the kicker's good. Like, I got my stopwatch right here.
Yeah.
You can just delay a little bit and give a guy a 0.1. All of a sudden, he goes from 4.6 to a 4.7. That's a good punt. Let's keep this guy around. But what you've done for St. Jude with this Run Rich Run,
thanks,
cool
brother.
thing, bro.
Thank you.
Indianapolis is very lucky that you choose, or you get to do it here, I guess.
Let me tell you, it's been it was like anything else born on television, born out of complete boredom, sitting in the old RCA Dome. 2.5 hours before shooting Total Access, back when you were probably a scout or something like that.
Absolutely.
Where were you in 05?
Yeah, I was 05. I was with the Ravens.
You were with the Ravens.
Yeah.
So it's me. I'm sitting up in the stands. Terrell Davis, who was thinking about doing TV at the time, sitting next to me. This is great. I get to tell the story the way normally I have to clean it up. Now I've just realized where I am right
Welcome
now.
to my show. We never get to see yours. You never get to see ours, but you know the vibes.
I do know the vibes.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there and I'm just totally bored, hearing the hum of the air conditioning and the lights in the old RCA Dome. Just stared down at the 40-yard dash, and I don't know why it popped in my head about running it. So I turned to Terrell Davis. I say, TD, how fast do you think I can run it? He laughs. He goes, you can't run for shit. And I swear. It was a spite run, and I went down, and I was just dressed, suited and booted, lace up, dress shoes, and I went and ran it, and had no idea that the crew that was on break was actually recording it, and they surprised me with it that night. And then the next day, we had Joe Gibbs on, and a whole bunch of other coaches came in.
Judging, evaluating.
And they said, did we see you running a 40-yard dash last night? So right away, they immediately popped the 40-yard dash up, and they were all making fun of me and having fun with it, and I just thought nothing of it. Next year, I show up, and the first person I see at the RCA Dome is the freshly minted NFC champion coach of the Seattle Seahawks, Mike Holmgren, who goes, are you going to run it again? And I'm like, no. And he said, why not? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, well, you got to beat your time. And I'm like thinking to myself, here is the NFC champion head coach, just coaching the Super Bowl, like questioning my sense of competition. I have to run it. So I
got to prove myself.
I did, and that's why I ran it again, because of him. And I just remember him also saying, just don't wind up there, and he pointed at the training table. And so I just kept doing it over and over and over again, and now it's 20 years.
Come on, dude, that's awesome.
Hell yeah, Rich.
You've done so many good things too with that. Obviously, raising a shit ton of money, because I don't know the exact amount for St.
It's over $7 million for the life of it.
Much more than a shit ton. That is a lot. That's amazing. It was a spite run to begin with, and Coach Holmgren kind of motivates you to continue it. And then he points at a training table. Have you ever hurt yourself doing it?
I have, as a matter of fact. Because running it, and my wife is always sitting at home hoping that I don't embarrass myself and the family name. And then Dion was always part of our crew, and I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of him. Leon Sandcastle. And as a matter of fact, he did run the 40 with me one year as Leon Sandcastle, and was step for step with me in the Leon Sandcastle afro, running backwards.
Backpedaling. That's tough.
You saw it? That's a tough look. It's a tough look, but for comedy, Pat. Anything for comedy.
And also for Deion Sanders. I mean, Deion.
Yeah, it was good for the brand on everybody's part except for me, but it's all good.
No. Good.
But so one year I ran it so slow twice, and I ran it a third time because I just wanted to run it faster. and I popped my hamstring in the middle of it.
Not good.
And I thought to myself, well, we're just not going to air it this year. And Mike Mayock said to me, "You've got to air it. You got to air it." And I'm like, "Why?" And he goes, "Because it shows, you're just like everybody else. You're running as fast as you possibly can. Who cares if you got hurt? And just show it." I'm like, "Okay, you're right." So we did it. And as soon as it airs, he goes, "Hey, looks like there was a sniper in the dome."
That's awesome.
And he goes, "Bill Polian was up there with a rifle." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. You told me to show it just to set me up? Like, what the hell was that?"
That's everybody's had that happen in football, in sports, So I think you stepping up to prove yourself that I'm not just a TV guy.
Thank you, Pat.
It's such a good mentality to start that entire thing. Hell yeah, we appreciate you,
Thanks,
Rich.
buddy.
Now let's talk about some 40s that are going to be happening here this week. And I legitimately can't wait to watch you guys. Spend a weekend with you. It's like a weekend watching a golf tournament. That's, I think, how you should view it, probably. I assume you already do as a host, but that is how I view it. Something great happens. There's some noise. I'm going to go ahead and look.
Yeah.
Other than that, got some background noise with the wife, with the daughter doing a thing. What do we need to keep an eye out for this week? What is like the most spectacular, jaw-dropping thing that you project to potentially take place this week?
Well, I think there's going to be some 4.2s. So we had the runner last year with Xavier Worthy, ripped off the record. I think that's probably going to be safe, but I think there's three guys that have a chance to get close. Maxwell Harrison, a corner from Kentucky, is kind of my favorite. Keep an eye on him as somebody that might run that thing down. Bond from Texas, the wide receivers, crazy.
If they go Xavier Worthy from Texas, 4.21, to Isaiah Bond, 4.2 whatever from Texas, it's like, what's the training going on down in Texas? These guys are just faster than any humans that have ever existed.
Well, I think also you just looking at the track programs in high school, how much better they've gotten in the resources and track clubs, and these guys they know how to run. It used to be football players, and you're trying to train and learn how to run a 40. These guys have been coming out of a stance since they were 8-9 years old, and they're legit fast. So those guys are fun, and then. Defensive line, it's a stat class. Defensive tackles is loaded, edge rushers is loaded. Linebackers today, Jahad Campbell from Alabama, who can rush off the edge, he can play off the ball. He's gonna run low 4.4 at that size. It's impressive.
It is impressive. And if we got good D tackles, that means we got a lot of big meat moving fast. Always create good moments for NFL Combine clips. Now, Mad Mel obviously dialed in, has some questions.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, DJ, obviously
awesome.
this time of the year, the reason I love it so much is it just kind of gives me an opportunity to put my nuts right on the table. Let everybody know, hey, I know this shit inside and out, okay? I assume you're the same way, maybe not as colorful, as the way I do it, but Adam Schefter was on the show yesterday kind of talking about the athletes in this class and basically said, hey, listen, the top 10 here.
Rich, please. Rich.
He's going.
He's giggling. It's fine. I get it. It happens. But
this guy's trying to do a little scouting here.
He said the difference between 10 and, maybe the guy who goes with 10, the guy who goes with 35 is, very minuscule, if you will. He said, listen, a guy you get in the third round might be just as good as the guy you take at 11. Do you agree with that sentiment? Do you think this class itself maybe isn't as deep as classes in the past? Or is it kind of one of those things where, personally I believe, hey, not as great of a quarterback class. A lot of people are, not going to get as excited about it. But do you buy that maybe there's 10 guys with a true first-round grade, and that everybody else you might be able to find, day 2, day 3? What's your take on that, DJ?
First of all, have you had your pumpkin pie yet today?
Obviously, start every morning. A lot of people. And listen, I want to get this out of the way right now.
Allegedly.
Whipped cream. Okay?
Upside down.
Whipped cream, not whippets. All right, I'm not emptying a whipped cream bottle and then sucking the the CO2 out of there and getting all jacked up on goofballs.
Yeah, nobody should be doing that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Okay, so sue me. I had half a pumpkin pie and about 2 cans of whipped cream. That gets me going.
I don't mean to evaluate. I don't think that is the actual chemistry of what you suck out of a whippet. CO2.
But if
how do you know, Rich?
I know carbon dioxide is not in that.
Well,
sort of thing.
it's not. But if that's all you got is an empty, whippet can
I know my chemistry, Boston. Okay.
Fair enough.
Back
Just
off.
Michigan guy, I forgot.
Anyways, pumpkin, a lot of pumpkin, and then 10 to 35.
Yeah, it is. It's the way I phrase it is it's a starter draft, maybe not a star draft. So there's a bunch of guys very evenly graded.
I like that.
So you're going to find, there's going to be a lot of similarity. I think I would push it back maybe more towards like 15. Then you could probably even go further down the line, like 15 to 50. You're going to see a lot of, similarly graded players. That's why on the media side of things, it's hard to it's hard to stack your board because you're not with the team. And so every team is going to have the same grades on these guys, but I'm going to prioritize the needs that I have. So I think you'll see players get picked that'll be wildly different than where they are on boards.
So who do you think are the stars then? Like if you're saying, it's a lot of starters, who are like the top guys, like the blue chip dudes who are going to go in and be immediate, huge factors for teams?
I mean, I think there's 2 stars in the draft. I think it's Abdul Carter and I think it's Travis Hunter. I think those are like the blue chip elite players.
Tyler Warren, no?
I love Tyler Warren. He's my 5th overall player. But
Genty too. You got Genty too.
Genty's my 3rd player. That's what's so weird about this
Loveland
draft.
graded the same as
I have the same
Warren,
grade
though?
on Warren and Loveland again. That's 3 of my top 7 players, 2 tight ends and a running back.
Why isn't Travis Hunter being just? We're previewing this, but I hope you don't mind us using the Pat McAfee Show real estate as sort of a rundown meeting here. Okay, very good. Why isn't Travis Hunter number 1 overall? Because he is a unicorn. Yeah. And by the way, he just came up with a soundbite of the week as far as I'm concerned. He was asked at his press conference while you were talking to Tyrese here that, are you going to return punts and kicks? And his answer was, I already have 2 jobs.
Beast.
That is a sick bar.
That is,
that
I
is
already have 2 jobs. Like, everybody back off. I'm a friggin' unicorn. So why isn't he considered first overall here?
Yeah, well, he's second for me, and that more is about how special Abdul Carter is and the position that he plays. I'm going to value somebody who can go get the quarterback in a league where I rank it quarterback, pass rushers. That's 1 and 2 of the most valuable assets you can have. And we're coming off of a Super Bowl that we just witnessed what happens when you have dominant defensive front players. Now, he's unique in terms of all the different things he can do. I'm not convinced he can run it out there 100 snaps a game in the NFL playing against that competition for a long, prolonged season. I think he's going to have to major and minor, and you got to figure out which one of those he's going to major and which one he's going to minor.
So I think if you were to, like Chuck Pagano, for instance, he said if you can get a lockdown corner, guy that can go on an island, you go ahead and do that, and then you can give him a couple plays on offense to take advantage of his skill set, especially with the game coming back to being a physical one. If you can go man on the outside, which I think obviously everybody wants to be able to do. But if you can go man or have a guy that can go man, I mean, that's a game changer for the rest of the box to try to stop the run, which I think is where the game's headed. I'm very fascinated by Travis Hunter because, you ask these people, is he a wide receiver? Is he a cornerback? And you ask him, obviously, he says, I'm different. Right. He said, I'm different. People say never been done before. Nobody ever done it like I do it. He said, I'm just different. A lot of good bars coming out of Travis Hunter. And I think he's uber competitive. Everybody says all he does is like ball. Doesn't really go out.
He's supposed to be a great kid.
Yeah, works his ass off. Like, he's 113 snaps a game, I think, or is some sort of record in this entire thing. So his durability has been fantastic. The way he's come through, the prime university to be a professional athlete, it's like, feels like he is a can't-miss type of guy.
100%.
At one of the positions.
Right, and at one point
at best, too.
Right, and at one point of his career, you'll figure which one he's going to major in specifically, and then that's why I don't know how you pass up on him. Like, period. End of story.
The only thing I would push back
on
that
DJ,
is,
listen to us, okay?
Yes, no.
Any of the film.
By the way, we haven't even got to Will Howard yet. I would have had that on my bingo card. It's already coming up with Pat. It's coming.
I'll give you a short amount of time so you can't explain it.
Thank you. But
there's a strategy.
Abdul Carter, we watched him with one arm.
So good.
In the playoffs. Dominated.
We were there. Yeah, it was
dominated.
I got some Hembo stats on Abdul Carter.
You want to know something crazy? And this is fully, recognizing Travis Hunter and his greatness. I'm not so sure if they raced that Abdul Carter wouldn't win.
Really?
Abdul Carter, I was told when he has a full runway to get healthy and run, that he'll run in the 4.3s.
Unbelievable as a pass rusher. So that makes sense for what Hembo sent over. Most pressures versus Ohio State last season, Abdul Carter with 5. Most pressures versus Oregon last season, Abdul Carter with 6. Most pressures versus Notre Dame last season, Abdul Carter with 7. That was when he was injured or whatever, okay? Then most pressures in 2024, inside 2.5 seconds. Okay, so you talk about his speed. Yeah. Inside 2.5 seconds, Abdul Carter had 37 of them. James Pierce Jr. had 29. Inside 2.25 seconds now. This is
crazy
turnstile tackle type thing happened there. He had 29 of those. So basically only 8 of them were between 2.25 to 2.5. And the next closest was James Pierce with 19. So he has as many in 2.25 seconds as Pierce had in 2.5 seconds. You're talking about just getting to the quarterback immediately. He's running a 4.3, this guy?
Yeah, but we're not going to see it here. We'll have to wait till his pro day.
No, but just in life.
That's how explosive he is. That's just how dynamic.
And he plays through pain. Now got the foot thing now, right? What's his foot thing?
So I guess they thought he might have to have surgery. Then the latest we heard today was that he's going to put that. He doesn't need it. He's going to be able to go at the pro day and be full go.
8 weeks. Like if Schefter's report is accurate, which we assume it is, Schefter said he had 2 options.
Yeah.
Option 1 is get the surgery, get a bolt. Here it is, right here. Option 1 for Carter would be to have the preemptive surgery, have a screw inserted in his right foot, and be expected back in 8 weeks. Option 2 for Carter would be to bypass the surgery, conduct his pro day, and prove to NFL teams that he doesn't need it because he's probably had this for a long time without even knowing it. Maybe they checked it here in medical. And my first reaction is like, 8 weeks, brother, it's February. You go ahead and get that thing done.
Who cares?
And then you go into a season, especially if you're a top, let alone a top 1 guy. But if you're like a top 5 guy, like obviously there's a difference in money, but what you're about to do in the NFL is about to be a difference in money. I'd get healthy, but I feel like they probably just assume that it's not that big of a deal. Is that what's
Well, apparently option 2 was chosen this morning, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I heard, yeah. So do you know anything about that, DJ?
No, it just said that this morning the information that it wasn't as serious as they saw yesterday. I don't know how that information changes from one day to the next.
Different doctors, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it different medical?
Or different imaging, I guess. I don't
Really? Isn't
know.
that the thing, Rich? About
I mean, that's what this is all about. Like I remember back in the day at the RCA Dome when I was just strolling around the combine for the first time, and they used to split up the medical rooms by division. Like and AFC East doctors were in one room, and Central and what have you. Central. Anyway, long story short is I went in there, started talking to some doctors, which probably wouldn't be happen today.
Yeah.
One guy told me that he in previous combines saw an X-ray and told a guy, you broke your leg back in high school, and the guy's like, no, I didn't, and he showed it to him. He goes, yeah, you did. You just didn't know. I'm like, they find stuff that other places just don't.
Wasn't there somebody's heart? There was a heart thing somewhere, wasn't there?
I think Maurice Hurst out of Michigan, they found something with him that, heart related. And fortunately, he's had a long career here.
Yeah, like one team deemed him no.
Yeah.
And then other teams were like, yeah, we'll take this guy in top 10. Like it's an interesting philosophy from doctors.
It happened with Kansas City with Trey Smith.
There it is.
That's why he fell to the 6th round.
Yeah, his knee was all screwed up, and some of the doctors said, hey, this might be a problem. And obviously, he's been fantastic.
And I guess just to bring this conversation full circle, Mad Mel, you're the first person to talk about nuts on the table at the combine since Chris Jones.
That's on the field, brother. That's on the field, brother.
That was a sitting there watching and go, oh man, he pulled his. That's not his hamstring.
Let it fly, DJ. You need to do that in there. You talk about quarterbacks.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 46 minutes into the hour, got an out at 57, so I think you have more than enough time.
We're good.
To explain.
Yep.
I looked at can you put his mock first round up there again? There is a name that I don't know if we have exact control. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I don't see it. Do you guys see it? Am I missing a name?
What are you looking for?
I don't see it.
A national champion. Is it
4 Ohio State guys?
I see Abuka's on there.
I see Henderson. I see Donovan Jackson, dog.
This is the Will Howard show of record.
Oh, okay, he's not up there.
He's not, isn't he, Rich? I don't see him. What is the deal? Like, I love Shedeur, by the way.
Yeah.
Incredibly tough. I like Shedeur up there. Cam Ward, I like Cam Ward up there. Like, this is not taking away from them. This is just saying Jackson Dart, number 3 in this draft, is what's kind of being talked about. And then Will Howard, how do you have him viewed?
He's right in there. He's not far off from Jackson Dart on grade-wise for me, and I'll give you some good Will Howard news because I knew I was going to see Pat, and I knew
Ohio State guy. I know, but
where we were going.
Right. Sure.
Pat it out.
So I talked to teams that have interviewed Will Howard this week and said he's been exceptional, that he's been awesome in the room. And I went back and I wanted to watch kind of the last tail end of games because that's when he caught fire. So after you get through the process, you watch all 330 guys we have here. Now you have time to go on a little deeper dive. And the first one I started with, because I want to start with Michigan. I know it went the way you wanted it to go, Rich.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, did not go the way Ohio State wanted that one to go. But watching that tape, he took a vicious hit early in that game.
He was right on the sideline.
And he was not the same later on beyond that. And
Thought he was at Kansas State still.
Yeah, exactly. It was a Wildcat. So seeing that, I kind of excused away some of that performance because I don't know that he was all right in that game. And then he got hot and played exceptionally well. My only concern with him really is just I want to see the quarterback throw live and see the ball come out of his hand just to see, if there's enough pop and there's enough juice, because these receivers at Ohio State create so much separation.
Agreed.
That there's not really those tight window throws. There's no need for them. You don't really have to make them.
There's a couple strikes. I mean, we were on the field watching the last 4 games up close and personal.
It's unbelievable.
He's eyeballed it.
Well, that's the thing. So we, and I'm not saying you had the same thought as us actually on C.J. Stroud, but like when we do these field pass games, me, AJ, Darius, a lot of other people, and I'm very lucky at the punter position. I've watched a lot of football from the sideline. Yeah. Like I've literally watched a lot of football. So you see some of these guys and you look like, oh, that's a Sunday guy, right? Like that is clearly a different guy. We saw CJ against Georgia, and he had ran more than he had for the rest of the season. It was like, that's the guy right there. That is the guy. For Will Howard, it was just like, as we were watching him, I'm like, nobody's really talking. He's 6'4". He's got the size, 240. He's got it all. The boys love him. And whenever things go south, especially with a transfer guy that got paid a bunch of money, especially with all the egos that could potentially be in that building, they could have turned their back on him. Instead, he had touchdown celebrations with dances, with all of his skill. He was able to handle personality, and then he was making these throws. Now, granted, that guy's unguardable. Yeah. So is everybody else, except for against Michigan, right, Rich?
No. I mean,
like that ball.
Listen, he balled out in the playoffs. There's just there's no two ways about it, and there's no two ways about it. He was hurt. Michigan really hurt him in that game, and C.J. Stroud had the best workout of a quarterback I think I've ever seen at a combine.
Here, right? And he threw.
He was unreal. Yeah. He threw every throw. He was dynamite. He was amazing. My only question is, Will Howard, when he throws here, is it going to be really weird for him? Because I don't think he's played in this building.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. This is
that's true.
Okay.
This is the home of the Big Ten championship, and I don't think he.
That's true. I don't think he is.
Is this going to be the first time he throws in this building?
Okay. Let's stick on that note, shall we?
Sure.
Let's stick on that note with the Michigan. How many did Jim say yesterday? Maybe 4.
So it's Mason Graham, it's Kenneth Grant, it's Colston Loveland, and
Will Johnson.
Will Johnson. Yeah.
Okay. So are we going to be able to continue to replenish all these guys up in Michigan? Are we a little bit worried?
When you say we. What do you mean? Are we, like collectively we?
No, I'm just saying, are we? If I was a
why
Michigan
would I be
person,
worried? Why
you
would I
gave
be
millions for Bryce Underwood, right?
Well, when you say you, I didn't give a dime.
I thought it was you personally.
No, it wasn't me.
You own Oracle, right?
No. I own something that Oracle, I think, created.
It's $200 billion. What is that? What is Oracle?
Database,
cloud computing.
It's a great company. It's outstanding, and it's a revenue generator, Pat. But yes, the Michigan did splurge, and it's fantastic. And they finished awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
January 1st, 2024, beating Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and December 31st, beating Alabama twice in the same year, around beating Ohio State. And those were just great days in my life, Pat.
Yeah, you guys beat Alabama twice and Ohio State twice in the same year. I mean, in an actual calendar year, the first day of the year and the last day of the year was beating Alabama.